Welcome to Season 3 of The Wisdom Within. I'm Lara Jaye, Executive Spiritual Advisor, Intuitive Guide, and someone deeply interested in the intersection between emotional healing, nervous system regulation, grounded spirituality, and real life. And this podcast season is going to be a little different from the first two. Deeper conversations about what's actually happening underneath success, burnout, relationships, identity shifts, emotional exhaustion, and those quiet recalibrations so many people are moving through right now. Today, I want to talk about something I see constantly in my clients and other high-functioning people. Why so many say that they want peace, they want clarity, stability, they want deeper connection. But when those things actually show up, they struggle to hold them. Not because they're incapable, but because their system was conditioned for something else. So I see this all the time with thoughtful, successful, deeply capable people. They've built businesses, they've led teams, they've held families together. They have performed at such high levels for years and years. And yet internally, many are just plain exhausted. And not necessarily physically exhausted, although that could be the case as well, but exhausted from constantly operating in anticipation, responsibility, pressure, vigilance, this emotional management, and especially overfunctioning. And eventually something in them starts asking for a different way to live. Not more achievement, not more strategy, more steadiness, more space, more internal quiet. But here's where it gets interesting. When it finally becomes available, when it finally arrives, that space, that quiet, often we unconsciously destabilize it. Most people think they have a clarity problem. They don't. They have a capacity to hold problem. Because if your identity was built inside of this pressure and urgency, possibly even unpredictability, emotional inconsistency, or this survival-based achievement, the intensity is what your body feels is normal. In fact, many high-functioning people only learned how to access motivation, value safety, or control. They only learned how to access it through pressure. Because why? Pressure became familiar. Responsibility became identity. And overfunctioning became your self-worth. And when that happens long enough, the nervous system adapts to it. So even when life becomes calmer, the body doesn't necessarily interpret calm as safe. It interprets it as unfamiliar. I see Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story just saying over and over, intruder alert, intruder alert. That's what our body, our nervous system does when it interprets something as unfamiliar, even if it's calm and safe and loving. So this is why some people really struggle when things finally begin working. It doesn't make any sense. A healthy relationship appears and we start overanalyzing it. A clear opportunity opens and suddenly we can't make a decision. Life becomes quieter and we feel restless, emotionally flat, and strangely uncomfortable. And not because something is wrong, but because the system has spent years orienting around stimulation, problem solving, emotional intensity, and this hyper responsibility. So when there's finally nothing urgent to fix, the mind and our nervous system has to create something, not consciously, protectively, because the system is trying to return to the emotional environment it knows how to navigate. And this is important to understand because you can't heal a pressure-based identity with more pressure. And this is also why traditional personal development often stops working at a certain level, because eventually the issue is no longer information. You already know what to do. You already understand the patterns. You've read the books. You've listened to the podcast. You've developed self-awareness. But awareness alone does not regulate the nervous system. And clarity is not something you can force through overthinking. Clarity naturally emerges when internal noise decreases. When the body no longer feels responsible for holding everything together. When there is enough safety internally to stop scanning, anticipating, and managing every possible outcome, that is when perception can change. That's when people start hearing themselves again. At a certain point, the work becomes less about achievement. It becomes about regulation, spaciousness, and emotional capacity. So can you experience stability without disrupting it? Can you experience stillness without interpreting it as stagnation? Can you receive support without feeling weak? And can you hold peace without unconsciously searching for the next problem? That is the advanced work, especially for people whose entire identity was built around being capable. And this is where grounded spirituality becomes incredibly important. Not spirituality as escape or bypassing reality, but spirituality that reconnects people back into their body, their intuition, their emotional truth, and their actual lived experience. Because healing is not becoming someone else. It's becoming safe enough to stop abandoning yourself. So if you've been in a season where part of you deeply wants something more grounded, more peaceful, more sustainable, but another part of you keeps moving in and out, I invite you to consider something. Maybe the issue isn't that you're unclear. Maybe your system simply hasn't yet expanded its capacity to hold what you've been asking for. And that changes the work completely. Because now the goal is no longer forcing or proving or endlessly optimizing yourself. Now the work becomes learning how to remain connected without collapsing back into pressure. That may be one of the most important forms of healing there is. And if today's conversation resonated with you, you can explore my private intensive mentorship or the monthly Soul Sanctuary gatherings through the links below or on larajaye.com. For now, we're going to move into today's energetic clearing. Today's intention is very simple. To release attachment to pressure, urgency, overfunctioning, and internal noise. To increase your system's capacity to hold stability without needing to disrupt it. And to remind the body that clarity does not need to be earned through exhaustion. So join me. Take a deep breath in and hold. Blow out. Allow your shoulders to soften. Your breathing to slow. There's nowhere to go. There's no trying to get somewhere. Just allow your system to experience what it feels like to stop gripping for a moment. Teondo, dele baleondo, reile pelioto, rale peoto, jele baleoto, rale bando, carete dianda, Kona alon dalalaliandariende de kalekarianda om makariandarianda dote da diandaro mondang Giondore le preateriandari utore le praporiandariendo kaliklianda kelo toje le plabrinda ringa le ponde le telepongo le tianga Kiondo de le pioto la le chiatari ingalitio nomala Leoto la plabriende y co otige la plecariende y corman, y caleti and la prabrienga. Giondo de la papa, calicadianda di inderi, calicodato de yangaleti, di calicadianda di yungo, caliciliapo quam, Kyoto la plabrienda. Giondo de ito de le parabrienda di ito de le parabrienda, do clicadianda, do de bioto, calioto, dalamando de ete, no corriende di indo, correte di andaria corresce qua. Leto are de qua. Deep breath in. Let go. And when you're ready, come back into your body. Come back into your body awareness. Open your eyes. And have a great rest of your week.